Alright YouTube, welcome back, and from where we left last time we decided we're gonna be looking at types in Python, dealing with various types, type conversions. So I'm going to assume that you know and already have installed any Python IDE either of your choice. I'm going to be using PyCharm. If you want to know about how installing, you can check to the Google Docs and you'll be able to see intelligent team, and you'll be able to see how to install this. So you can just Google this and you'll be able to see what you need in order to install this PyCharm on your operating system. But I assume that you have installed already. So we're going to start off and kick off. So we're gonna click here to say create new project, and we're gonna name this one types. And of course I'm gonna choose an interpreter for myself, because when you come in Python I configured this one with every library that we need. So we're gonna say create, and when we create a program, and there we are, we're in PyCharm, and of course there is nothing there. It's a busy scanning related things, security issues, so we're just gonna cancel that off. And here we're gonna create a first program, and so of course you're gonna right click here on types and then file, then new Python file. We're gonna call this app, or let's rather call it types in fact, because we're dealing with types, are we? Yeah, and you see that it has built a new file of type Python. You can see by the path here. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna first put a simple statement here. As you can see, it is not a runnable program, so you're gonna make some configuration. Of course, we'll talk about these in the later tutorials, but for now, just follow along with what I'm saying with this data main. Say data name is equals to main. There, we're just gonna put a passive because we do not want to make any configurations for now. But as you can see, there is this running thing here, a green triangle there to allow us to run our program. So what this data main is going to say, if this app, we're referring to that, the name here is referring to this before this types is equals to main. If it's the main program we're running, the main file we're running, then we can pass and just run the program in normal state. But in normal state, you want to put some configurations here when we put password. For now, we'll talk about that later. Then now we're going to be dealing with types in Python. And of course, there are various types. We're gonna be talking about the integer types, and of course these fall under the number. There is this number type, so we're gonna see on the number, we're gonna see the integers, the floats. And in fact, before we go any further, let me show you a quick listing of these things so that you can actually see it in a more visual manner. So we're talking about Boolean there. These are types in Python string, and then when you see the compound types, these are the lists and tuples and dictionaries. There's more like data structures, but of course they're types, and we will look and build in stages as we get there. So for now, we're gonna start off with the simple ones and we go. So in Python, if you're coming from Java and any other language, you know that I will do something like int in order to declare a variable. But for Python, everything is much easier actually. You just don't have to declare any type. It will infer automatically by the value you give to it, you assign to it, you initialize to it. So here in our tutorial, we're gonna be just putting a comment, and our comments in Python, just gonna put a hash there, and you write we want an integer type. Then for integer type, we're gonna say maybe age is an integer, so we're gonna say 17, 14 of course, and then 14 is an integer, and automatically the interpreter here is gonna infer and say integer, it received a 14, that is an integer, so it's gonna make sure that this type of age is an integer. So if we're looking at a float, it's gonna say amount here is equals to 18.00. Of course, that's just 18, this is the amount that's in my bank, and then it will infer automatically that this is a float variable. And of course, we're dealing with a Boolean, so we're gonna say, let's just put this as number so that we can put all numbers under this rather than typing float integer little by little. So these were for the number, and then we're gonna see a little bit about what a Boolean. So for Boolean, it's gonna infer that's just true or false. So we're gonna say is active. We're gonna assign those here, because we are not at active in Python, we are not at late now. So then we talk about then the compound types. Of course, let me just introduce you so that you can see, but we'll talk about these later in the later tutorial. But for now, just look at these. And now for the compound type, there is the list, and there is the dictionary. Of course, you can just say dict here and just assign it to values. So it's a dictionary is just a key value pair thing. So a list is more like an array if it's an array in C, and we're gonna just put a value here, say glen, and then it's initialized. So dictionary is a key value pair, so we're going to say the key here, and now the value is going to be value here. So, and of course you're wondering where's the column stuff. If you're coming from any programming language, this is a beautiful pattern. You don't have to put any column to delimit a statement. You just say just go, you're done, to the next line. And of course there is the tuple or tuple, whatever pronunciation you use in your country, I don't know, me. So a tuple is gonna put these parentheses, and then you put a value here, say reader. Of course that is my surname, and of course do not worry about these things. Whenever you see these stuff like this, you just go out and just to reformat the file just to make sure the indentation is correct there, and we reformat again. I don't know why it's making me reformat everything. All right, doesn't remove redundant parentheses. We need these, and then we're gonna be doing some cool stuff here. So these are you don't necessarily have to name these like list, dict, tuple, but that's just for me to analyze, for you to know after dealing with these things. So in our next tutorial, join us as we go on further and actually use these types and go on further and further. Thank you.